Hello from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. I'm Nancy. It's a rainy day here, but it's starting to warm up, which is a good sign. I wanted to show you I wanted to talk to you about one thing. We have discussed this before, moths, and they are a knitter's nemesis. It's a scary thing when you find a moth in your closet, and they're different kinds of moths. The ones that they're the kind that get into your flour and stuff in your pantry, I think they're different from the moths that like to lay their eggs particularly in your cashmere. And the little larvae, when they come out, is what eats holes into your yarn. I've had a moth infestation, and you may think you have a few moths here and there, but surprise, surprise, if you take your closet apart or take which is what I had to do at my house, take all your sweaters out and everything, you're going to find them. And so one thing you can do is wash all your sweaters. I don't recommend dry cleaning. You can throw them in the freezer for 48 hours. One person I know has a deep freeze, one of those big, huge things, and so she threw everything in there. I ended up putting some things out overnight when when the temperature had gone down, so I did that for 2 nights. But if it's bad enough, you have to bomb your house, which involves, you don't need to get an exterminator. You can go to Lowe's and get this stuff that's like a fogger, and you set it off we did it in my basement because I have yarn there. We did it for 3 nights in a row. You seal off the room and you can't go near it for 5 hours. And the smell is pretty awful, but you do not want to breathe it. Then I'm doing my house this weekend, the upper part of my house. And I'm not sure how that is going to go, but it'll be 3 days in a row, and you can't be in your house, so I'll be somewhere else. Anyway, it's a big pain in the neck, so it's a good idea to go after, if you see any, there's a company called Bug MD or Dr. Kelleher's. I think they're little triangular things that have sticky inside with the pheromones, I guess, that the moths are attracted to. I put those along with lavender sachets in my closet, and the bad news is I still have moths. So I would, at the end of a season, as you're putting your winter wools away, I would wash them. And we have a product in the shop called Eucalyne. Many of you have used it. It's a no-rinse wool wash, and we have nice, this one happens to be the jasmine scent, which I happen to really like. And it just takes us half a capful of that in I just do them in my sink, and I'll do 1 or 2 a day, and you can get through them pretty quickly. So that's my recommendation for getting rid of moths. We had some new, and you may have seen it online, those of you who may have looked, we had some new accessories from Coco Knits, and I wanted to show them to you. We have this wonderful little yarn snip, and it has a little leather case, and you just squeeze it, like that, and it cuts your little bits of yarn. I really like them. They're handy to have, and they work really well. And secondly, we have something called a Maker's Keep, and this is a little thing that you wear on your wrist, and it just snaps on like so, and this has a magnet on it, so you can put all of your stitch. I put it on the wrong way, I think. There it goes. And while you're knitting, you can just have this on, and you can put your little stitch markers as you're knitting on there. I guess I'll show that later, but another thing that we got in, and I thought this was really clever, are cable needles. And these are, some people prefer the straight cable needles. I'm not going to take them out of the bag, or out of the packaging, because it'll wreck the packaging. But if you see this little band around it, it is metal and it sticks to your, so if you're doing cables, there's always like, what do you do with the cable needle when you finish the cable? Well, you stick it on your maker's keep, yeah, don't throw it in your mouth. This also, if you're knitting on an airplane and you need to have your, you're doing stitch markers that you may be taking in and out, or you have pins or something, these just stick right on there. So I think it's a very clever, useful tool. So we also have back in stock the Flight of Stitch Markers from Coco Knits, and you can see the different kinds of markers by the pictures on the outsides of them. So these are great. It's nice to have this array of different kinds of stitch markers. And who doesn't need stitch markers? I'm just always finding them and then losing them. The other thing we have back in stock are the stitch stoppers that go at the end of your needles when you're not working on your yarn. So we had the jumbo size. Now we have these size go from US 0 to 15, and there's a bunch in here. I forget how many are here. It says 4 of each of 6 sizes. 4 each of 6 sizes. So those are some Coco Knits things back in stock, and you'll find those online as well. With spring arriving, I thought it would be a good idea to show you some patterns for some spring tops. If you start them now, you'll have them for summer, spring and summer. And I use all kinds of different fibers for spring. I'm first going to show you some cottons. This is a tank from, it's a Shibui Knits pattern, and it's called Athens. And I like this because it has a long, I don't know if you can see it because it's white, but it's a long sort of A-line kind of top, which is fun for summer. And the yarn that I'm going to use, or will recommend for it, we have this fun yarn that is a cotton blend, and it is cotton and acrylic, and so it's not going to stretch because it's got the acrylic in it, and it's super soft. And this is a good value. It's 360 yards for $10. So a few of those will do it. So some of the colors we have are these two are, this is Sweetheart, this is Twinkles, this is Angel, the beautiful white, great for summer, and a very pretty gray called Darling. So these are soft, and people say I don't like to knit with cotton. Well, the new cottons are very different from those old, and I've said this, but I think I probably said this last time. They're just very different. So that's one idea. Another one that we thought was a lot of fun, and we did this one before, this is called Iris. And this is a quick knit because it's lacy, and there's a lot of yarn overs, and there's even, I think, drop stitches. Drop stitches, as you can see, are up here around the neck and in here. And so they give you, like, you're doing one row, and then when you drop the stitches, you get about ½ an inch in there. So it's kind of fun. They go quickly. So the yarn that I've chosen for this is called Soft Cotton. And it's true to its name. It's quite soft, and this is from Lang. And we have a bunch of different colorways. This pink would be particularly nice for a summer top. And we have these, a light green and a dark green and a peach and another blue. And I just love wearing this soft cotton. I've made, two tops and a poncho out of this yarn, and I just love it. Love wearing it, washes well. So I recommend those for this one. Now, I was saying I use different yarns for the summer, and believe it or not, I do use wool. And if you knit on a bigger needle and have a light, you make a very light fabric. It's kind of nice for the summer. And I have a few tops that I love to wear, particularly if you're going to be in an air-conditioned office or something. So this is a tee, and I apologize because I just don't think these pictures do it justice. Let me see if I can find, there are a couple in here. So the thing about this tee is that you can wear it either with the V-neck in the front or in the back. And so if you're doing the front, hopefully you can see, which side am I showing you? I need to show you this. And some of the samples of what they've done with this V-back tee are in a gradient. So I've chosen one that I kind of like. It's a fingering weight yarn, and I would use probably, you use about a size 6 or 7 for it, and so it creates a loose fabric. And these are the colors that I chose. This color, which seems a little off, but it's got some of that deep pink in it. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to choose, I think, to wear mine with the V-neck in front. Let's see if I can find, here's one in a gradient. For those of you who watch, if you watch the Knitting Place podcast, they were in their latest podcast on Monday. They had some samples of it, and it's really, really pretty. And you can make it kind of longer if you want. It creates kind of an A line, and then you have this, the way that it's knit in the front creates this kind of V. And again, I apologize for the poor pictures. I would look it up on Ravelry. Again, it's called V-back tee, and we'll put a link on the on the video for that. And last but not least is another lacy one called Cancun Lace Boxy Top. We've had this in the store in the past. I like this one because you can wear it with a tank under it, or I've worn it with over a dress, and you can make it any length you want. And that's, you have to remember that when you're knitting, that you don't have to be tied into the length that it's knit. You can make it shorter or longer. Just keep measuring as you go, and if I wanted to make this longer, which I did, I just repeated some of the patterns, which is easy. And this is essentially 2 rectangles sewn together at the sides and at the shoulders. So if you want something easy and quick, this is it. The yarns I've chosen for that, we have 2 yarns, and one of them I think is discontinued and they replaced it with another one. In any case, we have some in stock. This is called Lineo, I believe. No, Linen Stonewash. This is one of them, and this is a gold, which I thought was kind of fun to do. Give me a nice dressy top. This one is called Indio. These are linen, 100% linen. This is a beautiful sort of gray blue. And then the Lang Lino, which is I think the one we have most of and can get more of. This one is a beautiful sand color, which I would recommend. And this one, because I'm loving orange these days, this is a beautiful sort of bricky orange color, which I think would be lovely in the lino. And then again, we have black. So if you want something dressy, sort of fun to put on, and it comes down to about here, so it hides your shoulders. So if you have, you know, kind of a dressy top and it's a little bit cooler, you can, or dressy dress, you can wear something like this over it, and it covers up your shoulders and part of your arms. So that's all I have for today, but come and look around the shop. We have today we got a huge order of Malabrigo Rios and Dos Tierras, and we're getting a shipment, will come in early next week in the Sandnesgarns Lina, which is spelled L-I-N-E, which is a linen and cotton, I believe, which is a great summer yarn. And we're expecting in the next month a shipment of Madeline Tosh, and soon after that a shipment of La Bien Amie. So stay tuned, keep abreast of what's going on through our emails, and watch on our website. We have other spring yarns here. We've got cottons, we've got linen blends. So come in and look around and find your next summer knit. Take care. We'll see you next time.